My name is Matt. Follow along as I turn Duracell, the legendary ocean racing sailboat, into a comfortable cruising home. We're up on the foredeck. We are going to be removing these two big sliding hatches that are up here. So these hatches were used for hoisting and dousing sails into. They're really big, and when it was time to pull a sail out of the boat to hoist it, or to, more importantly, when it was time to douse, for instance, a big spinnaker, the spinnaker could just be thrown straight into this hatch rather than onto the deck, so that if you're in bad conditions all of a sudden, you could just throw the sail in the boat, close up the hatch, and seal the boat back up so that you can deal with the spinnaker once it's inside the boat. Now we are going to be removing them. Let's go down inside the boat and we'll explain why we're removing them. These are the two hatches I'm going to be removing. We're removing them for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that Yanni and I are going to have our stateroom up here and in the forward end of the boat, and the aft wall of our stateroom will cut these hatches right in half. And so I have to remove the hatch and fill in this deck area so that we can put the bulkhead in where I need it to go. The second reason is that I want hatches that are opening like clam style, where they will suck air into the boat when we have them open, when we're at anchor especially. And so these sliding hatches just let air flow over them. And so we're going to move and put different hatches more aft over the settee area, and then probably another hatch up here above our bunk.
That came off so easy.
I know. These hatches seem to be in pretty decent shape. Well, at least one of them was leaking, but I think it's because these sliders that slid in the track, this is what the hatch actually tensions against to pull down onto the frame to seal it up, and they seem a little worn out. And the glass is a little crazed, but I don't think they're leaking or anything. They're in pretty good shape, so maybe we could either reuse one of them or sell them. These are the two areas where we'll be putting in the new hatches, one here and one here. This area will be above the salon settee area, and then this one will be above kind of the walkway through the boat. So we have one hatch here already, which is just aft of where I want to put the two new hatches, and it's also just forward of where the doghouse is. And so I haven't decided if I want to remove this hatch yet or leave it where it is. It seems excessive to have three hatches in one kind of close space.
Why couldn't we just keep that hatch and not build two new hatches?
Well, the two hatches will let in a lot of light into the boat and suck in a lot of air into the boat. It's just great air conditioning, as you know, when we're in a tropical anchorage, to have airflow through the boat.
We have a standoff here between La Paz and a squirrel.
To begin, I removed the old hatch frames. Older boats like this used a lot of slotted fasteners, which can be very tedious to remove, so I ended up hammering a lot of them out. Then I used a stiff chisel and wedges to pry up the old frames. The hatches were potted to the curved deck to give them a flat mounting surface. This potting had to be cut off, then sanded to schedule out the fiberglass for relamination. Then I used a piece of door skin to draw out a template to make the plug with. The deck is 1.25 inches. I don't have anything that thick, so I'm using my 1-inch foam to fill it with. First, I will fasten a plate to the underside of the deck. Since it's curved, the plate will take that shape. Then I can laminate a few layers of glass to the underside, then glue in the foam, and then more glass to make up the difference, followed by the top laminates that will extend beyond the hatch hole to form the new top skin. Later this winter, I can then laminate the underside skin. I cut out the foam plug, and my mom helped me prep them with pea and iris there for support. I cut out my underside plates from a sheet of 1/2-inch melamine. I rolled a thick layer of wax onto the plates and then let it dry in the sun. When the wax had dried, I sprayed adhesive to the plates and then stuck a sheet of peel ply. This is so that the underside will be well prepped and I won't have to do a bunch of sanding overhead when it comes time to laminate the inside. I fastened the plates to the underside of the deck and started laminating to the plate. I put 4 layers of 1708 biax and peel ply on top and let it cure. For the port side, I glued down the foam and vacuum bagged it in place. I drilled a bunch of holes in the foam to let air escape out from under it. I vacuum bagged it to make sure that the foam was conforming to the shape of the deck. On the starboard side, all I had left were pieces of flat stock with glass already laminated to the core. This doesn't bend, so I had to cut it into strips to let it conform to the shape. The added skins on the foam filled the hole the rest of the way up so I could immediately fare and then apply the final laminates to the outside. I'm using strips of fiberglass because I'm trying to use up scraps of glass that I have left over from other projects. I laminated a few more layers of 1708 to the top of the foam on the port side to bring it up flush with the deck. After that had cured, I filled any voids with thickened resin and then took care of the final laminations with 2 layers of 1700 biax spanning the old hole to connect the deck skins. There will be plenty of sanding to do to make sure the deck looks nice, but hopefully my technique will have helped minimize the amount of fairing necessary for a clean looking deck. The underside of the deck turned out very nice. The skins are very flush to the underside of the deck, so all I have to do is sand around the edges and then laminate a couple layers to the inside. So this hatch is over top of the second watertight compartment up in the bow. And what we are going to use this space for is like wet storage. So for sails, fenders, lines, chain locker. And in order to get big stuff like sails in and out, I have to remove this little tiny hatch and put in a nice big hatch. And so what I've done is I made a little template that went on the back side, on the inside of the boat, and just drew out the shape of the hole, and I used that to cut out this piece. This is a piece of the ballast tank, and it's pretty close to the same thickness as the deck is, and so it fits in there pretty well. But I sanded it down so that the fiberglass that's on there is tapered up to the paint, and that way when I put a couple layers of fiberglass on, I can taper them out, and then it will be pretty smooth. I won't have to do a ton of fairing after it's all done. So I'm just going to sweep this with some clear resin. So peel ply is going on now. Next is this is the release paper, which is a perforated plastic on the inside, breather cloth on the outside, and it just lays on top of the peel ply. Little piece is what the sucker donut goes on. That's how I attach the vacuum to the bag. From here, I'm just
You're working really quickly.
It's so hot, and it cured so fast. Ready? So there was a bunch of hissing, and those are just holes in the bag, and so I just pinch the pleats and the tape a bunch, and finally those holes go away, and then the vacuum is pulled.
Paz, is it hot? Is it hot, Pazzy?
In this heat, it has cured super fast. We did this like an hour ago, and it's... Easy peasy. Feel confident in it. So I'm sure you noticed that the video was a little bit different this week, and that is because Yannicka is out. She's out of town on vacation for a few days, and so I put a lot of the video together myself. And it goes to show how valuable Yannicka is to this project. She doesn't like to show herself on camera very much. She really enjoys putting the videos together and sharing the story with you all. And frankly, this project could not happen without her doing everything that she does. She is an extremely talented storyteller and writer, and that translates really well into her video editing skills. And so I hope you'll all appreciate when she gets back how much better of a job is done when she's around. But so this is me thanking her from afar for doing such a beautiful job with this project. So without further ado, though, here we have a few more Patreons to thank this week. If you are interested in joining our Patreon community, you can find us at the Duracell Project on patreon.com. So first off, we have to thank Riku, who is from Finland. He has been sailing his entire life in Finland and the Baltic Sea. He mostly cruises. He has this really sweet, it's a Maestro 35F that he cruises around with his family. And he's also a very avid racer, part of the HTR Sail Racing Society, which has this cool logo that indicates that they might do a lot of foiling. I'm not sure. But he said that his responsibilities are boat speed, gin tonics, and table reservations. So thank you again very much, Riku. And also thank you to Patrick, who's from Copenhagen. He has also been sailing his whole life, cruises around Scandinavia as well, and he owns this really cool Ula Enderline 32. It's a double ender. Its name is Tonic, has a really sweet paint job. So thank you again very much, Patrick. Also thank you to Bo, who is from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. He's been sailing his whole life with his parents on their boats and has since gotten his daughter into sailing. She's sailing Opties, and now he has just recently bought himself a Flying Junior. So thank you again very much, Bo. Good luck on that Flying Junior. And lastly, thank you to Simon, who has been restoring boats and working on boats for 45 years. And he recently started working on a old wooden powerboat that's called Chance, and he is restoring it from the ground up. And he has actually started his own YouTube channel, and it's called Life's a Gamble, Let's Take a Chance. So if you want to follow him along, go check that out. So thank you again very, very much, Simon. And lastly, thank you to Brian, who we haven't heard from. So thank you all again very much for your support. We couldn't do it without you. So until next week, thanks again.